My name is Paul Reiter. I'm Executive Director of the International Water Association, a global organization for water professionals. Water security, I think, is akin to national security, right? In ensuring that a country, a city, state has the capability to function, to thrive economically, and without water security, you don't have national security, you don't have health security, and you don't have economic security. Well, if you think about the planet and its growth, I mean, we're talking about adding 2 billion people over the next 40 years. And you know, that translates to 155,000 people every day, 1 million a week, right? And those people are finding their ways now. They're finding their place more and more in cities. So we've got, not in all parts of the world, but in most parts of the world, rapid population growth, urbanization, income growth, which means big demands on water, right? And we're going to see impacts from a food point of view, an energy point of view, and a city point of view, and an environmental point of view, all around water. I would argue it's an issue everywhere. All countries are impacted by, you know, the kinds of pressures on water that we're talking about. Take a couple of examples from developed countries. If you look at the desert southwest of the United States, major impacts, you know, from a combination of population growth, familiar, right? Urbanization, also climate change impacts, drawing, right? And if you look again, another U.S. example would be the Pacific Northwest and Northern California, where you're talking about climate change impacts that are going to really affect snowpack, which are going to impact water supply, agriculture. Australia is in the midst of a hugely impacted set of conditions from climate change, right? Drawing, floods, and so for both of those countries, even though they're well-to-do economically, big impacts. You go into developing countries, major impacts in India, in Bangladesh, if you got northern China, in fact southern China in a different way, affected by the monsoon climate, which in turn has been impacted by climate change. But they all manifest themselves in water. Africa has been very heavily impacted by the combination of these circumstances. I am, and you know, many people, if they really looked at the facts, would become despondent. But I'm a big believer in human ingenuity. But we can only be ingenious, if you like, if we really face these problems, you know, and really try to work on solving them. So the argument I've made is we can solve problems, we've got to face them, and we need game-changing thinking and game-changing technologies. Well, just thinking about game-changing approaches, right? People who are working in practice are often so mired, right, in their day-to-day circumstances that they don't have the opportunities that people and research facilities and practice centers and such as the University of South Florida have to be working and thinking through these problems, right, and to actually be leading the way towards new thinking and new solutions that can get taken up by the practice world, right, and turned into on-the-ground projects in reality.